Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which takes place every October and now in its 19th year, is a collaboration between government and private industry to raise awareness about digital security and empower everyone to protect their personal data from digital forms of crime. Joining me is John Miller, co-founder and CEO of Halcyon, to discuss how and why ransomware continues to impact organizations of all sizes. John, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Where are ransomware groups attacking outside of enterprise?
Oh, we're seeing them start to pop up everywhere. Originally, they started with consumers, but now we're seeing them focus on schools, hospitals, utilities, right? We've even seen the first death of an American from a ransomware attack on a hospital in Alabama.
How has cost been impacted as ransomware incidents continue to climb?
It's skyrocketing. They're figuring out methods and tactics to actually evolve their business, including extortion, that are forcing enterprises, organizations to pay in situations where they wouldn't, right? Where they used to have the ability to go and recover from a backup. Now you have forced leaking of confidential information that is actually driving the ransomware payments up and the cost to recover up.
Are modern security solutions keeping up with these threats, John? I feel like every day, multiple times a day, we're hearing about large scale attacks.
Well, new threats like this require new solutions, right? So modern, right, is if you want to deal with ransomware, is cutting edge. Unfortunately, the previous generation of solutions are, in some cases, decades old. And because of that, there are flaws in their implementations, right? Their approaches that are being exploited daily by these attackers, where these ransomware groups have access to higher capabilities than any other actors on the internet before. They're using zero-day vulnerabilities at a rate higher than governments use them, right? And because of that, new solutions have to be created to essentially bridge those gaps.
Yeah. John, it almost seems like the legacy infrastructure is almost stymieing these efforts because the hackers, to your point, have newer technologies. They don't have the integration problems of trying to bring, legacy and institutional assets together with the newer forms of technology that the hackers are using. So the question is, what's it going to take to stop ransomware and become resilient against these types of cyber attacks?
It's spend, it's money, right? The nice thing with ransomware is they're running a business, right? And because of that, they're after profit. So if the cost to attack your business is an order of magnitude higher than somebody else's, they're not going to go through that extra cost to hack you specifically, right? And while we have enterprises and organizations that have been spending on information security and cybersecurity for decades now, the threat has never been as bad as it is today with ransomware. And unfortunately, the only solution to it is increased spend, increased budgets. If you're looking at a dollar for dollar kind of approach to war here, their resources are growing much faster than the defense budgets are growing against them.
Well, I would imagine some hackers are also financed by rogue governments and people in those positions. So they almost have an unlimited source of funds.
There's never been any proof of that yet, but yes,
right.
Absolutely. The ransomware groups that are out there today, have some very obvious implied connections with other governments, right? And we've seen other governments use ransomware and cybercrime for fundraising, right? North Korea is a great example. They don't fund their cyber warfare program. Their cyber warfare program funds itself.
Right. Well, I mean, it's not like it's a kid in someone's mother's basement anymore doing these kinds of, annoying attacks here or there.
They're still there.
They are there, but these are large scale ransomware attacks.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're organized criminal groups, right? With employees and CEOs and IT support and help desks, and they're 24/7. and they are running the most profitable businesses to ever exist on earth.
Yeah, well, I guess there's no price to consumer and enterprise data. But John, let me ask you, where does Halcyon fit in the cybersecurity ecosystem, and what makes your solutions unique?
So we're the first anti-ransomware product, right? Where everyone's familiar with antivirus. And while ransomware, a component to that is, malware and viruses, we're the first product that was built from the ground up to focus on these specific threats, how they attack enterprises, and ultimately to mitigate the risk of catastrophic failure to a business if all of the layers of protection fail. So we're not trying to replace AV, we're trying to augment it in a way where we can give an enhanced coverage, right, in the gap between, the modern edge products and what these ransomware guys are doing right now, as well as we focus very heavily on resiliency, right? If everything fails, if your network gets ransomware, how do you recover it in minutes in a way where there's no impact to your business? You're not stopping production for weeks or months.
So, of course, we're only going to hear about the big headlines of major enterprise attacks. Hopefully trying to end on a positive note. Are we making strides when it comes to mitigation and not even allowing some of these attacks to happen? Has any progress been made there?
So there's absolutely been progress made, but if you measure it across the growth of the ransomware groups, it's not enough, right? 80% of organizations last year were hit with some form of ransomware attack. It's insane, and it's growing bigger and bigger, right? And it turns into a recurring problem where we're seeing upwards of 60% of organizations that get ransomware and pay a ransom get ransomware by the same group again. Even more so in these extortion scenarios, right? Where you're paying someone not to release data, but they don't delete the data, they have it forever. So if you're already willing to pay once,
right,
why wouldn't you be willing to pay again?
All right, well, keep providing those solutions. We certainly need it for the industry. John, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.